Dear explorer, you followed the white rabbit down the hole. Now it's time for the black rabbit to show you around. Welcome to my channel. My name is Fotis, and I like to decode the hidden mysteries of life through the lens of the occult and psychology. So, if you want to learn more about the occult significance and meaning of the tarot card, the first tarot card of the Fool, follow me through the rabbit hole and see you behind the code of zeros and ones. Today I'm going to be talking about, and I'm going to be creating a series in regards to the tarot. I think it's something very important. I think it's something also which is very misunderstood. And if you want to learn the real deal, I'm going to be talking about it in today's video. So, the first tarot card. The first tarot card is not actually the first when it comes to the number. It's like the number is 0. And it's not 1. Why? Because the 0 has a significance on its own. So, the first tarot card, which is the Fool, symbolizes infinite potential, untapped potential, the beginning of the journey, a beginning of the archetypal journey of the soul. When you're getting born, when you are a baby, and when you just first come out of your mom's belly, of your mom's womb, you are this. You are the Fool. Welcome to the world of the physical plane. Welcome to Earth. So, this is a starting point of infinite possibility. It's like you are still pure, and you are beyond programming. You are beyond what you know is good or right. But you're a little fool because you don't know what's gonna happen. You're just very innocent, very, very innocent. It's the child within you, it's the inner child. And here as adults, we do have the inner child within us, and the inner child within us is pure, just like this card. This card is the beginning of the journey and the beginning of the archetypal journey within the simulation, within the physical plane. And the physical plane and the tarot has and encodes all the archetypes and all the archetypal significance of this world. There is no behavior that exists outside of this tree, the tree of life. Every behavior you are aware of, every expression of these archetypes on the physical plane corresponds back to one of these cards, one of the tarot cards. So, the first tarot card. So, let's decode a little bit the meaning of the tarot, of the Fool. I'm gonna have it a full screen here so you can see it better. So, first of all, the number 0, it represents the untapped potential. It's the number from which all other numbers emerge. So it's gonna be 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it goes back to 0 by being 10. 1, 0, and then 1 and 1, 11, 12, 13, 14, and so forth and so on. So the 0 represents the emptiness and the infinity, and it's a state before the formation. It's a state of pure potential. You could call it chaos, you could call it the source from which everything arises. So let's dive into the picture of it. So the figure is always portrayed as a young character. There are gonna be many tarot decks out there, so we are just gonna be decoding in this series from the lens of the Arthur Raiders White tarot deck, the original Raiders White tarot deck, and we're gonna be decoding this tarot cards from this deck. And so this character, the Fools, usually appears as a youthful character that represents like innocence, and he is curious, he is ready to walk into a cliff without really recognizing that is a cliff, and he might do a mistake. That's why he's called a fool. And it's an openness to everything. It's an openness to the world around him. It's just he tries to understand the world. It's the archetype that is free from the ego and worldly attachment because you just came in. And so the character, the fool here, the young individual, is carrying a small stack on a stick, which the stick and the small stack on the stick symbolizes knowledge that is not yet tapped, and it's spiritual tools that you're bringing into the life, the unconscious wisdom that you bring within your journey, and it's small and it's pure and it's just about what you need in order to begin your journey. You know, when you begin doing something in your life, you are embracing the Fool. So you're starting on a new project, you don't know where to start. You're like this curious little being that wants to embark on a journey that they don't really know what they're getting themselves with. So you're kind of acting like from a fool state, but being a fool is not something wrong. Like the fool is the beginning of everyone's journey, and we have to embrace it, just like we have to embrace all other archetypes of the tree of life. And so the fool is whenever you begin doing something, you can call that a new job, a new project, a new relationship, and new everything. When you start doing something new, you are a little fool that is curious, that is open to learn things, and yeah. So the cliff, which is what the fool starts to walk towards to, it symbolizes the risk of stepping into the unknown. So when you're doing something new, you're stepping into the unknown. You're stepping something that is unsure. And although it's unsure, you have the sun on the top guiding you through this path. And so the cliff represents stepping into the unknown, and it's a moment of surrendering and trusting and having a faith to embrace the unknown and life adventures as a whole. So the little dog that in some cards it's a beast of a dog, in some other cards it's just a small dog, like this one, which is white and pure. White represents the color of purity. Why? Because the white as a color is the absence of other colors. It's something that really doesn't have a color inside. It's the absence of all colors. So it's just learning the purities, the learning what the colors and what the distortions of the source around you and the manifestations of the one look like. So this is the white color. So the small dog, the dog is a very, it's an animal, as we know dogs, they're animals with instinct, and it's loyalty. They represent loyalty, and they are our guides. So whenever something happens before it happens, a dog will probably starts barking, and this symbolizes the inner guide that we have inside us. It's our soul, it's our intuition, it's the voice of the soul, which we have to be loyal to it when we are starting to do something, where we are embracing something. So a small child has a very strong instinct when they are young, because they haven't been separated and been distorted to learn to not how to embrace it. So whenever we're embracing the fullness of this card, we're embracing our instinct. And so we're embracing our inner guide, our loyalty. We have to be loyal to the inner guide. And so the dog, as we see in this deck, in this tarot card, is symbolizing it's kind of upset. It's like it's barking to the fool, and he warns about the potential danger of walking into the cliff. And they remind me the need of balancing out the innocence with awareness. So you can be innocent when you start doing something, but there has to be a little bit of a precaution, let's say, to what you're about to do. So the sun on the top symbolizes illumination, divine inspiration, and optimism. It's the sun during the day. We know where to step, and we know that it guides us through the day. During the night, we don't really know where to step, and we are stepping into the unknown. So this card symbolizes both of them. So we have the inner guidance and the inner illumination, but we are still walking into the unknown by trusting our intuition. And by trusting our intuition, we're gonna get the best and the best of the best, let's say, results that we could ever have, because our intuition is the smartest and the most intelligent part of our psyche that we have. It's literally the inner voice that guides us through everything, basically. So the flower that he holds on his left hand, it symbolizes, first of all, it's a white rose. So the rose, it represents wisdom, and apart from that, it's white because it's still pure. It's pure wisdom. When we look at kids as they are young, we see them as these little individuals that embrace the totality of themselves. They can be fooled sometimes, and that's the beauty of what they carry. They carry this archetype a lot when they are young, and so they're just pure. They're going around being these curious little creatures that they always want to learn more about the world, and they are so open to experiences, and they are very in touch with their intuition, and they know where to rest, when to have fun. They know these things. It's in their DNA, it's in their instincts. So they are our little fools of this world, and we have to, and they teach us how to embrace our inner child, which as adults, many of us, we have forgotten to embrace the inner child. But the inner child is something beautiful and something pure. It's a part of us it is there. It's inside of our being, and it needs equal attention as, for example, the part of us that is the warrior, the emperor, or the part of us that is more so the queen, is feeling through the emotions. It's more so feminine. And so what else I have to say? So the clothing that he wears is just like a little bit, chaotic and vibrant, that it reflects the chaotic and vibrant nature of the human experience, and it suggests openness to life in all of its contrasts and paradoxes. And so from the outside the clothing is green, from the inside it's red. So this guy is just embracing the totality of the paradox and the highs and the lows of life. So the highs and the lows, as you can see at the back of the card, you will see mountains, and he's ready from the mountain up there to just walk into the cliff. So this is the contrast I'm talking about. This is the highs and the lows. So the archetypal meaning generally, as it is found in mythologies, it represents the seeker. So whenever you see like the Odyssey or the Hercules, or in all of these myths that we have as human beings, from the past, and all these histories and all these mythologies, like the fool would be the beginning of the journey. So in psychology, the fool corresponds to the beginner's mind, and what the Carl Jung talks about, which is puer aeternus, which is the eternal child, which is the part of us that remains youthful, open, and creative. And it's just this pure part of us that it's like a bit silly, it's a little bit like acting like a fool. It's the archetype of us that is open and wants to connect with other people and wants to have fun and wants to enjoy life, you know. So this archetype is the gateway to transformation. It's like you're starting to transform your soul, and you're stepping into the unknown, which is a necessary it's a necessary precursor to finding individuation, because you cannot find individuation when you're in the comfort zone all the time. You have to step out of your comfort zone and challenge yourself a little bit, and that takes the initiation of stepping into the unknown, which it's like the fool, embracing the fool inside us. So the keywords that are associated with this card, the positive ones are beginnings, innocence, spontaneity, being spontaneous, freedom, faith, and adventure. And the negative aspects of this card are recklessness, being naive, and this is also represented by the innocence. It can be taken advantage of sometimes, and you will, through the experiences of life, you will know that you can be innocent, and that's a very good feeling. But it's when you're innocent with everybody around you, it's like you will be taken advantage of. So the negative side of this card is being a little bit naive and a little bit of the foolishness, too much foolishness. And so it can also represent risk taking without foresight. So if your intuition tells you to not go and do that, to not go this certain thing that you do, I mean, not your ego that is afraid of changing, but your intuition, if they tell you to not go and do that, and you still go and do that, that's risk taking without foresight. And sometimes it can turn to a very positive result, even though it's very uncomfortable, and sometimes it might end up into a very negative result, which is something that we should always be aware of. But at the end of the day, does it matter if it turns out a very negative result? Well, that I will leave you that to your perception, to your personal perception. For me, when I've done foolish mistakes, when I embraced this card and I was risk taking without foresight, I've ended up at the police station. I ended up to places that were extremely uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, as I see in my past, they formed me to who I am today. So sometimes risk taking without foresight can be also positive. All right. So now the astrological and elemental association of this card. This card is the element of air, which represents thought, intellect, communication, and the ability to move freely. Air is the realm of ideas and possibilities. Everything is possible. It's the untapped potential. It's the potential of the mind. And so the planetary association is gonna be the planet of Uranus, which symbolizes change, freedom, and rebellion. Now, Uranus aligns a lot with Fool's energy of unpredictability and innovation, because that's what embraces, what leads to change and what leads to freedom. And in order to step out of your comfort zone, or step out of the comfort zone that somebody has put you in, you have to rebel. So this is the planetary association, change, freedom, and rebellion, Uranus. So when it comes to the tree of life, the Fool is linked to the Hebrew letter Aleph, and it's the first letter of the alphabet, which represents unity, the breath of life, and divine spark. It's the first verse, it's the A. It's the A letter of the alphabet. And so the path that connects, the path that we can find the Fool in is the path of Kether, which is the crown, and that connects to wisdom, which is Chokmah. And it symbolizes the initial burst of creation from nothingness. So the initial burst of creation was created out of nothingness into beingness, into everything. And so this is the untapped potential of the source when it creates and bursts into creation. Now, the alchemical symbolism of this card is what the alchemists used to call as prima materia, which is the raw unformed matter of creation. It's the starting point of transformation. The raw pure power of the source is now getting transformed into being created. And in order to step into, and how does the source create, steps into the cliff and steps into the unknown, it sends great amounts of light inside the chaos. The chaos is gonna be the unstepped and the let's say the unknown that we have to embrace in order to transform. So in the human, from a human perspective, it's stepping into the unknown. But when we go up and up in the macrocosm, we're gonna see that in order for something to be created from the raw pure potential, it has to be stepped out of the uncomfort zone, and the light has to be directed inside chaos in order to go on the other side and produce something. It's force and form combined together. So I think that was it about the tarot card of the Fool. There are some secrets that this card embeds, and there are some manifestations of that in nature and within us in many different scenarios. But I guess I'm gonna leave that for another video. I don't want to take it so long for this video. And so if you like this video, like and subscribe to stay tuned for the rest of the tarot card series. And I will be publishing soon my own personal reading link that you can take advantage of. I've been doing that for 4 years now to myself and to my friends, and I feel ready to publish that to the world to take advantage of. See you on the next one.